Good evening. Good evening. I'm going to have to use this. I've been doing this almost every night for about 3 months now. I can feel a frog, so I better not shout too much. I'm going to talk a little bit about something that might make some of you uncomfortable. And it's not what you think. I'm going to talk about the Labour vote and going after it, because we need to. Today, the EU withdrawal bill went to the House of Commons, as we probably all know. Now, I've been watching the news today, and Labour have been jumping all over this. And the reason that Labour are jumping all over this is to take the working class vote. They, with the TUC, have been saying pretty much all day that the EU withdrawal bill must be opposed, and there's a 3-line whip on Labour MPs to oppose it, because it could allow for workers' rights to be dragged back in a future government. Now, what is the biggest threat in this country to Brexit? To me, it is the Labour Party. If we lose that vote, we will lose a lot of votes to Labour, and they will dismantle Brexit. We cannot let Labour win. They will dismantle Brexit. So, and just as a side point, I went onto the UKIP website today, and there was nothing on there. There was nothing on there. There's a short statement from Steve Crowther a few days ago about this, but nothing today. We should be absolutely all over this. We should be all over this. It's the EU withdrawal bill. We should be all over it. It should be our core message for the next couple of days. But there seems to be a fear for us to even talk about the issue of workers' rights. Immediately people will shout socialist, communist, and all the rest of it. This is nonsense. Do we really want to give a message to the working people of Britain that we don't care about them, and we don't care about we don't care about their basic rights? We must and we should, because we have a chance to beat Labour. We have a chance in the northern English cities, for example, where people will never vote Tory, but they might just vote for us if we get the message right. These are also the people who are living with the results of mass migration from all over the world, who are having to compete for jobs with limitless migrants from all over the world, who are having to compete for housing with limitless migrants from all over the world. We have got to reach those people. So what do? We find a common sense middle ground. Yes, we want to pull back the red tape and the strangulation, particularly for small businesses. But what we will do is talk about basic rights that both employer and employee should have. We'll get rid of all for example, the health and safety nonsense has to go. We have got to get rid of 90% of it. But what the working people out there want to know is that we are not going to get rid of 100% of it. Small businesses in particular want to know that we're not going to strangle them and leave them at the mercy of unscrupulous employees. It's all about how we get this message out. We must find a common ground. We must find common sense that will allow us to appeal both to small business, both to the reduction of taxes, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but we've got to find that middle ground. If we don't find that middle ground, if we don't reassure the working classes of this country that we are on their side in a common sense way that doesn't strangle business, that doesn't strangle the economy, we will lose them. And more importantly, we will lose them to Labour, who will then use that vote to dismantle Brexit. This is absolutely key for us, and we cannot continue to be afraid to talk about it, and I think that we are. Now, Labour at the moment are engaging in doublespeak, Orwellian doublespeak. It's all so complicated that only politicians can understand these things. The voting public out there doesn't understand. They're talking about how we need certainty, while at the same time disrupting certainty, disrupting a bill that will give us at least a course to go on. This is a serious, serious matter. It's a serious matter because we need to win. We need to win. We cannot place ourselves on either this extent, on this part of the political platform, or on that one. I want us to find a common sense middle ground that doesn't punish employees and doesn't punish employers. Okay. That is how you gain the votes. We must do this. We must do this. And we must do it in relation to the EU withdrawal bill, or we will lose Brexit to Labour. Thank you. The future for UKIP is... It's not working, is it? No. The future for UKIP is partly what Peter has said. We are not out of the woods with Brexit. We need to be like a dog with a bone with Brexit. But it won't be enough. It won't be enough. We have to be on the, what I call the Trump train. The ones who will say the unsayable. The ones who will tell the truth about the difficult issues, and the ones who will tell it like it is and say it like the people say it down in the pub. We don't need any more. We don't need any more of this rehearsed, perfectly pitched rhetoric. We don't need it. We need people who speak exactly from the heart and who tell it like it is and who are passionate and real. And I will say that if you are worried about the issue of Islamisation, then there is only one party and, frankly, only one candidate who will really, really deal with it. A lie, and it is a lie. Look, we've had tonight on this panel, and I find it extraordinary, because when we started doing this, there weren't the number of people talking about Islam on this panel that there are tonight. Suddenly it's become an issue for candidates for whom it was not an issue before. We've also heard that we must listen to the people. We must listen to the people, even if it makes us uncomfortable. And we've heard this particularly from one candidate who tried to have me removed from the ballot paper. This is utter nonsense. This is smearing. It is trying to silence me and trying to silence my supporters. This is not a leader. This is not leadership which will listen to you, and it certainly isn't leadership which will listen to the public.
No? Happy to go. Oh, yeah. Ben? Let's be honest about the whole Islam thing, okay? The truth of the matter is, Jane Collins was talking about that before we were even thinking about standing in this leadership contest. We all know how Jane has paid the heavy price for speaking out against radical Islam. I don't have to explain that to you. The truth is, we are a libertarian party.
The question was about MEPs.
Yeah, fine. A rebuttal.
Can I?
A rebuttal,
yeah. Yes, please, if I can. Yeah. Look, Jane Collins issued a statement saying that people shouldn't go to my launch in Rotherham. This is not a person who takes this issue seriously. She's tried to silence me and has condoned silencing me. This is utter nonsense. This is a response to seeing how much support I am getting and jumping on the bandwagon and pretending to care as much as I do. Look, what I said on LBC, and what Jayden has actually confirmed, is I want a discussion on what we do with the 23,000, or whatever number it is, I've seen 35,000 as well, of active jihadists, 3,000 apparently being closely watched. Now my argument is very simple. Why are we allowing 3,000 people who we are risk killing British people on our streets? It is as simple as this. When you have a choice between the safety of the British people or the so-called rights of apparent terrorists, then I choose the British people, and I make no apology for it.
I think we all get it. What is the candidate's priority concern within the party, our nation? How will they resolve it, and what will attract them to the people who don't normally vote for us? Anne-Marie?
Primary concern is very simple. Other people call themselves libertarians, but you cannot be a libertarian if you don't oppose all that is illiberal and all that threatens your liberty. We must do so. The EU threatens our liberty, it threatens our sovereignty, it threatens our rights. So does a particular religion, which we all know about. Now, my concern is protecting British culture from all threats. I'm saying so. I'm saying so. And how will I win people over who don't vote? They already email me on a daily basis saying you have inspired me, I haven't voted for years, but your honesty and your plain speaking, I will vote for you. I get it every single day. We must tell the truth, no matter how hard. We will inspire people. As has been the case with my candidacy, we will be all over the media pretty much every day. We will be getting hard, straight messages out pretty much every day, and we will have inspired and reinvigorated a dormant electorate. We will have excited the British public again, and we will have our faces and our name all over the country. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Controversy is exactly what we need.
Ben?
You know, we hear a lot. We're hearing a lot tonight about party structure. Obviously this stuff is important, but none of it matters if you're not reaching the public. If the public isn't interested in you and attracted to you, everything else falls away. We're forgetting who this is all about. It's about the voting public. It's not about our internal machinery, it's about the voting public. That's core. It's number one. And if we are talking about local elections, I want us to get back to basics. Sean Hornby, who's a councillor who stole a Labour seat for UKIP up in Bolton, who has, I'm very grateful to him, has officially endorsed me. He goes down to local high streets and puts up a board saying, come and talk to us. They do this every Saturday. They have gained loads of support. They go around and deliver leaflets. This is basic bread and butter stuff. If you are present in your local area on a regular basis, this is what we need to do. Get back to basics. Get the basics right. And we will draw in the voters. That's what we need to do. I'm exactly the person talking about the fact that we need policies. We need real clear policies. We cannot go out to the public and tell them that UKIP is broken. This is not a broken party, by the way. You are not a broken party. I do not see a broken party in front of me. But here's the thing. The British public is not interested in what the machinations of UKIP are. They want a message. We are here to stand for leader. The leader's job is to communicate clearly with the public so that they interest and excite the public and make them want to vote for this party. Talking about a broken party is not going to do it. John is probably the only person who's ever going to say that he would work with me on this panel. That I can pretty much assure you. However, did you not, John, ask Bill Etheridge to be your deputy? Bill Etheridge took to the pages of the Telegraph and described me and my supporters as neo-fascist entryists, offering no evidence or support, of course, for any of that, merely smearing and slandering myself and my supporters. He was very clear about that. So essentially, John, I like you, you know I like you, but this, to invite a man who will call a huge section of this party neo-fascist, is simply unacceptable. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know where you're coming from. To me, a vote for you is a vote for Bill Etheridge, and I couldn't do it.
For all of you, how would you describe yourself politically in 4 words? Anne-Marie?
For the British people.
Yeah. Anne-Marie?
We've heard a lot tonight. We've heard about apparent credibility. And my question is, credibility according to who? I want us to be credible with the voting electorate, not with the media, not with the academic elite, which thinks it knows best. We must get back to basics. We must get back to basics. We must offer common sense, bread and butter policies that are up to date. We should be all over the EU withdrawal bill today, all over it, but nothing. We need to be on point and we need to be regular and present all the time. I have never, my offer to you is very simple. I haven't changed my tune along as we've gone along through this. I have been consistent for the last decade or more. I am looking for a Britain that is free and independent and which is true to its heritage and its history. We must oppose everything that threatens that, no matter how politically incorrect or difficult it may be. That's what I'm...
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.